I'll be playing Lost Adventures tonight. You can find out more information by doing !sponsor or !game in chat at any time. And this game is by Bell Tower Games, and it is designed by Jeff and Steve. So Jeff Warrender and Steve Sisk. And the box is a pretty reasonable box. It's like the size of a book, okay? And it says 2 to 4 players, but you can actually play a solo variant. And the solo variant isn't currently printed in this box, so I got the rules. They emailed me the rules, okay? And it's 15 minutes per player. So on the box, I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour on BGG, ages 10 and up. I think people less than 10 could play this game. It's a puzzly deduction game that uses some auction. So that if you don't understand what those words mean, I'll show you. It's a pretty straightforward game, and you have to take risks in order to win. I was reading some reviews on Board Game Geek about this game, and apparently it's really hard to win, which is awesome that people have played this game, realized it's hard to win, wrote the review on BGG. They had good things to say about it, but they also said it's hard to win. So I've played this game two-handed. I lost. I also played the game solo. I lost again. But guess what? I took notes. Okay? I took notes, and I'm going to try my best to win this game now. It'll be my 3rd time playing it. Solo. 2nd time playing a solo. With notes. With practice. Okay, so in this game, you have 2 different parts of Lost Adventures. The first part is going to be you traveling around trying to gather clues for the temple phase, okay? So the first phase is actually called the map phase. So you're just going around the map. And there's going to be cards on this side that have clues on the other side of the card. You don't know what they are. You just know what symbol they have on the back of the card. These cubes are the cost to look at the card underneath. And these cubes are equivalent to clue points. Okay? This is a continuation of that. This is a continuation of that. This track around the board is how long the game lasts. So you know exactly what turn you're at and what step you're at. So after you gather all your clues in round or phase 1 with the map, then you're going to go towards the temple track and try to get as far as possible. These numbers along the temple track are your actual score. You do have an enemy pawn, and the enemy pawn will start ahead. And in the solo game, you actually have an equivalent player just like you, and their goal is to try to tag after you in the map phase and then pass you along the track. In order to win the game, in both the solo mode and the multiplayer mode, you have to be ahead of everyone. Step 1. Step 2, you have to have no hubris. Hubris there's going to be little marks along your track here, along your scoring pad. And at the end of the game, you have to get rid of all your hubris. If you have leftover hubris, your face gets melted off, okay? Your face will get melted off. There's even a card that says, "Your face melted off." Okay, so you don't want that to happen. So you have to have no hubris. Okay, Gator Dave? All right? So in order to win this game, in both the solo mode and the multiplayer, you have to be the first one farthest along the track and possibly go as long as you're ahead of everyone. And you can't have any hubris. Okay? It got dark really fast. So, when you travel along the map phase, depending on what shape you land on, you're going to flip over a card that matches that shape. Like this is a circle here. That card will reveal symbols based on what cards you have that will give you clue points. Those clue points will help you pay to flip over these cards. These cards will give you clues on where you need to be. And this score pad is actually double-sided. And you can use deduction to figure out what you need for phase 2, which is the temple path. For phase 2, you're going to be making actual bids. Remember I said there's some bidding and auctioning in this game. You're going to write your bid number here based on how many symbols are revealed here and what you have. And if you bid the most, you get to move ahead of everyone else, but you have to take hubris if the number is higher than the symbols that you have. So you want to have a lot of symbols that match here, and the only way you're going to know what's actually there is by the clue points. So it all ties together, and that way it's a little puzzly game that uses some deduction because you won't be able to reveal every card. You have to guess. And then also some auction because you're setting your bid there. And then, like I said, at the end of the game, you have to be ahead of everyone else and have no hubris. Okay? So if you've played this game before, but you're watching this video or Twitch VOD, I have some clues for you. I actually have 7 clues. And maybe you don't understand, if you've never played this game before, maybe you don't understand what these clues are, but they might make sense as I'm playing the game. So clue number, or tip number 1, don't get cards with green fedoras in solo mode. And the reason why, try to get as little green fedoras on the cards in solo mode as possible is because the opponent, the bot opponent, their bid will be the number of green fedoras on the cards that you picked out in the map phase. So tip number 1, try not to get cards with green fedoras. Tip number 2, get at least 4 black cubes during the map phase. Because if you get 4 black cubes and you save them for the hubris challenge, you can actually spend a cube to get rid of more hubris based on what the cards you flip over say. And that'll make sense when I do it. Tip number 3, get the chalice answer. So in this game, part of the things, there's 3 chalices here that will be false. There's going to be 4 options, A, B, C, or D. And it will say the answer is not chalice A. And then you can cross off A because you know it's not A. So as long as you can figure that out, that will help you in the solo game. The next tip is get the exit, which is exit the temple here. Get that clue. And then based on that clue, get the temple, the perils approaching the temple. Okay. Or perils of the temple, depending on what the exit the temple clue says. And that'll make sense. All right. The next tip is tip number 6, bet high in the temple phase. I realized that I spent too much hubris during the map phase. And then by the time I got to temple phase, I didn't have any hubris left to give, because once you pass 15, you lose the game automatically. You don't even go forward. So that was another mistake I made. So bet high in the temple phase, save your hubris for the bidding. And the 7th tip for you when playing this game is don't get past 11 hubris, because, and the instruction booklet says this a little bit too, they say statistically how many hubris you'll be able to cross off based on the 4 cards that you draw. And so they said that most of the time it's going to be around 11. So on tip number 7, I wrote, don't get past 11 hubris. And that includes having the black cubes as well. Okay. So those are my 7 tips for you if you're playing this solo. And I hope that one of you can play this game and pull out a win. All right. So we're going to try it out right now. I have my marker here on this is the starting phase. No hubris left to give sounds like a pretty good country song. Looks like St. Patrick's Day fedora collection with sadness. Oh my gosh. Jowser says, seems good. Okay, good. So everyone's going to start here in a multiplayer game. In a solo game, you're going to start there, but then the other opponent will be in Cairo. You're going to have a black cube each in this space right here. And I apologize for my mispronunciation. I believe it's Kenderan. So have a space there, and Kara. Black cube in there, and Cairo. Okay, so 3 black cubes here. You're going to have the enemy pawn in Berlin. And you're going to fill a black cube on each of these spaces all around the board. All right. And then in solo mode, you're going to give yourself 1 cube to start out with. Okay. So that's how the setup is. And the card setup, you'd be able to find the rule book, but this is how the cards are set up. The other thing is there's going to be 4 different stacks of player cards, and you're just going to shuffle your stack and make sure it's on the basic side up. And I think they're all the same. I just grabbed one that looked pretty on camera. And I'm going to move this card that says your face melted off, because that's not going to happen to me tonight. I'm actually going to pull the win. You're also going to organize your cards here by the shape. I also need to have my name here. I'm using my fog light pen. Name, character, I'll do Bonds. Bonzinator. Okay, my score, I don't know yet. The date, December 2023, right? And that's going to be it. They also have a space for pivotal scene. So after the game, you can write a cool moment that happened. Stepped away to hop on a phone call. I came back to Bonziana Jones. Dang it, I'm changing my name. The first thing I'm going to do is I can move up to 3 spaces. Okay. So, one other thing I forgot is each person is going to start by taking the top 2 cards and leaving them on the basic side. Oh no, this is all mixed up here. They all need to be basic. So just make sure. There we go. You're going to start out with 2 cards per player or per person. So here I have Muscle and Fists starting out to help me. Lone Shark, good to see you. Okay, so there's also prediction. Will Bonziana's Jones face melt off in Lost Adventure? So go ahead and place your prediction there. Basically, am I going to win this game solo? And according to BGG, it's really hard to beat. But I practice and I have tips. So, okay. Oh, a Lone Shark got the Lorcana card in the mail today. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's good to know. Yay. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is move up to 3 spaces and place a cube there. And I'm going to check the cards on this side. And remember, I'm trying to avoid the green fedoras along with all the other tips that I have. I'm only going to have 4 cards. So I think I'm going to go to Paris, and I'm going to move right here, and I'll take this card here, and it has 2 fedoras on it. And before I flip the card over, I have to call if I'm going to give up a cube to add a 3rd fedora. If I do that, then I would have a guarantee of 3 clue points before the enemy pawn reaches me. In this gray box up here, it'll tell me the potential clues that will be on the other side to give me additional clue points. And when that happens, I look at my cards here. The only blue I have is a person going through the door. So I already know that I won't be able to have any additional clue points from this card. So really the only reason why I'm taking this card is because of this and the fact that there's no green fedoras on it for solo mode. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the card over. It says decipher the code. I have no matching symbols. I'm going to place this card on the side. So now I'm going to determine how many clue points do I have. I have 3. When I do that, I'm going to move the opponent towards me, and it is not allowed to take a shortcut. This is a shortcut right here, and this is a shortcut over here. It has to take the long route. 1, 2, 3. So move 3 spots towards me. And the enemy pawn will move 1 spot per cube that I have on my location, and however many spades are on the back of my card that I took. So when I first got there, I did actually miss something. When I moved to Paris, I needed to add a black cube there. Whoops. My bad. Here you go. When I moved to Paris, I needed to add a black cube there. The enemy pawn is at Berlin, so they move 1 plus 0 because there's no spades here. and they actually meet me on Paris. Now, when they meet me on Paris, a consequence does happen, and I have to either give up a clue point. So right now I have 3. I have to give up a clue point, or I have to discard a card from either here or my draw pile. I did forget that when I gave up the black cube for the fedora, I forgot to put this back in the thing. So I started off with 1 in solo mode, but because I gave it up, I actually have 0 black cubes right now. And instead of giving up one of these, I think I'm actually just going to give up the staff and discard that. So I no longer have access for it. Access to that card. So I did that. I still have my 3 clue points, okay? So that was part 1 of moving around and figuring all that out. All right, just to see where we're at here. Reading chat here. Space Hobo, how's it going? Good to see you. Dr. Bonds, you call her Dr. Bonds. Hey, Space Hobo. Are you all voting here? Don't forget there's a prediction. Yet 20,000 points for yes, face melts off. Oh my Lanta. Gotta win big. Okay. Ellie, welcome back. Yeah, get your predictions in. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to be viewing the temple secret of the space that's on here, that symbol. Oh, I keep on pressing the wrong one. Okay, so this one has a map symbol, which is perils approaching the temple, okay? And I have 3 clue points. So I can either use all 3 and take one of these, or I could just take the cheaper one. I think I'm actually going to take this one. And when I do, in solo mode, I am allowed to take the first cube from the top and add it to my pile. And remember, one of my tips was have at least 4 cubes during the temple phase. So this is 1 cube that could go towards it, unless I spend it for more clue points in the future. Okay? So then I'm allowed to see it. Now, because I'm streaming and also because of solo mode, I'm going to keep the card flipped up and leave it on the board flipped up. But if I was playing this with other players, I would actually look at it secretly, make a note on my piece of paper here, and then flip it back over. And now someone else can see it, and it's actually cheaper for them. So there's pros and cons to taking the black cube from the clue that you're studying. You don't have to take the black cube if you don't want to, but it does help you remove hubris at the end of the game. So there's pros and cons to that, okay? But because this is a solo game and I'm streaming it, I'm just going to flip the card over. It says, endure the sprawling sands, and there is a heat symbol on there. So the perils approaching the temple. I already know that there's going to be heat symbol for the letter B. I'm going to flip my paper around right here, my perils, and I am going to circle the heat symbol on B. Okay, so I know the heat symbol is there. All right. Then after that, that was the whole thing. I took the cube that if I wanted to, and now it's the end of that turn. But before I go on to the next thing, I have a choice to flip over one of these cards here to the iconic side. And when I flip it to the iconic side, it doubles whatever is on the previous side to make this card stronger. Okay, which is really good. So I could do that. Or I could actually add another card to my tableau. I don't know the perfect way to do this. I think for now, I'm just going to add another card to my tableau and try to find more blue symbols. Ooh, resourceful is really good. I'm going to definitely try and get resourceful out there and not discard that. So that's it for turn 1 for me. The other opponent doesn't have their own turn in the solo game. Their goal is to just try and chase me around and catch up to me. So the next thing I'm going to do is move my cube up 1 space. And then I do the whole thing over again. I'm trying, and there's only 5 turns in the first round, so it goes by very quickly. Now, one thing I'm going to really, really want to do is avoid fedoras. And unfortunately, There's 2 fedoras there, 2 fedoras there, 1 fedora here. I wonder if I can go to a triangle spot and also accomplish my goals. What if I went to, let's see, I can move 3 times. 1, 2, 3. What if I did that and got away from the enemy opponent, and then I could hopefully get 2 clues or 3 clues and unlock exit the temple. That might be something I need to do. So let me try that here. I think that's a good thing for me. I'm gonna move 1, 2, 3. Okay, I place a black cube there, and I take a triangle card. The triangle card has 1 fedora, 2 fedoras, and on this side, if there's a person exiting the door, plus then that could be another fedora, and I could unlock it. Now it's a risk I'm taking. I don't know if this will actually happen. Do I want to give up this black cube to get that fedora? I think I need to, because I really need 3 clues. So I'm gonna risk it. Okay, I'm gonna take this cube, give it up. Remember, I'm trying to save 4 by the end of the 5 turns. So I have 1 clue and 2 clue. Another thing that I need to make sure is round 1, I took 1 hubris just because I did round 1. Round 2, I take 1 hubris just because I do round 2. I according the instructions were a little bit hazy on this, but I think no matter what, we take 1 hubris per turn. I think that's just how it is. So by the time you get to the temple phase, you'll have at least 5 hubris. I'm pretty sure. So on round 2, I took 1 hubris there. And whenever you take a green fedora, you're allowed to, but you take another hubris. Okay? So whenever you take another clue point from a green fedora, you take another hubris. The brown fedoras, the original color here, that's always going to be a freebie unless it tells you to pay something like the cube. Okay? So right now I have 3 hubris total. I have 1, 2 clue points. Will I have more than 2? I do not. F. Waterfall Bridge has a horseshoe. I look over here, these 3 cards that I have out. This one doesn't count. That's just my draw pile. And there's no horseshoe there. I only have 2 clue points. And unfortunately, I can't unlock the exit the temple. I needed 3. So that's really unfortunate. Before I flip over the card, I need to move the enemy pawn. The enemy pawn moves however many clue points, or actually it was however many cubes are here plus the spades. And I have 2 black cubes here, so 1, 2, and I have 1 spade on the back of this card, so that's 3. So it's going to move 3 times towards me, but it doesn't take shortcuts. It's not allowed to. So 1, 2, 3, it avoids me. I don't have to pay the penalty for it catching up to me. And the other opponent tries to catch up to me based on how many clue points I took. And I took 2, right? The green fedora and that 1 cube, that's 2 clue points. So 1, 2, it does catch up to me. Now on the first turn, it didn't catch up to me, so I didn't tell you what happens. This time it did. All right. And whenever the other opponent catches up to you, you have to add a black cube on the temple track starting with number 1. So because it caught up to me, it has an advantage on the second half of the game. I'm going to add a black cube right there. And now, if we were to start the second half right now, it would actually start on number 2, not on number 1. But because there's a black cube there and it caught up to me. So that's what happens. That's why you don't want the other opponent to catch up to you, because it's going to help them in the second half of the game. Okay? So now that you settled the enemy pawn and the other meeple, now you can go on with your clues. So again, I had 2 clue points, and I have to do something that matches a temple symbol. Exit the temple costs 3 cubes, so I can't do it. This one costs 3 cubes, so I can't do it. But this one only costs 2 cubes. So I'm going to remove a cube here. I really want to. And it's going to allow me to flip this card over. Okay? So flip it over. It is a squiggly arrow pointing up, and it's called Dodge the Poison Darts. So the perils of the temple is dodge the poison darts. I'm going to keep that face side up. Then I take my perils here. I look at the letter here. It says C. So I go to row C and I circle that arrow. And now I know that in the second half, there will at least be the sun symbol and the arrow symbol. When I go over to my thing over here, I'm going to have one arrow symbol there already and 2 sun symbols. So I'm doing well, but I don't want to switch them to the iconic side yet. What I really want to do is pull out this card to help me out. Oh, and there's a horseshoe on that one. That one's going to be very helpful too. So I'm going to flip that. I'm going to add that to my area here. And now I have 4 cards out. This is the draw pile. And hopefully I can get a card that has the man exiting the doorway, because that way I'll be able to have more clue points. Okay, that was the end of round or turn number 2. Afterwards, I'm going to move this cube forward once. Then I'm going to have to figure out where to go next. Okay, according to my tips, I really need the exit of the temple. I need to figure out where the location is. I haven't done any of that, and I have 3 more turns left. So, I really need to start focusing. I really want more clue points. But remember, my other tip was, in solo mode, you don't want to have a ton of green fedoras. Well, over here, this triangle card has 3 green fedoras. This one has 2 green fedoras. That one has 2 green fedoras. They're all terrible, but I'm going to go for the lesser evils, one of these. So out of these, which one could I have more help with? Well, I could probably go up here and escape the other opponent and the other pawn. I don't think that it could reach me, and I could try and go to Venice. So if I do that, it would be 1, 2. Ooh, I could also go to Budapest, but the enemy pawn would catch up to me, and it would not catch up to me if I went to Venice. So maybe I'm going to do this then. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do, yep, I'll do that shape for Venice. And will I be able to get 3 clue points? I really need the chalice though, but that's a triangle. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this right here. So Venice, and it's that hex shape. A bit melty, perhaps. No, Gator Dave! No! This game looks fun. How do you even pronounce that? Funge? Okay, so right now I have 2 green fedoras. If I want to take each of those fedoras, I would need to take a Hubris. It has 1 spade, so that's going to add 1 movement for the enemy pawn. And if I wanted to give up a cube, it would also give me another fedora. And I know that on the other side of this card, it's going to have one of those 2 symbols. Now, if I look over here, I have both of those symbols. It's just a matter of how much do I want to give up. I think for sure I'm going to keep my black cube and save it towards the Hubris challenge. So I'm not going to spend that cube. Okay, and I have to call that before I flip over the card. I don't have to call the fedoras though. I do have to mark off 1 Hubris since I'm on turn number 3. Okay, I'm flipping it over. Oh, it's the guy that sounds like he's listening. View the tapestries. So I have 1 of those symbols. I am trying to get a total of 3. Now, there's 2 green fedoras here. Should I take 2 more Hubris? Oh, I really don't want to. But if I didn't do that, then how am I supposed to ever get... I think I'm gonna have to. This isn't... I have to know exit the temple. I have to. It's going to help me. So I think I'm gonna take 2 Hubris. I'm at 6 hubris right now. So I have a total of 3 clue points. Before I flip over my card, I have to go ahead and move the enemy pawn and move the opponent meeple. They have 1 spade plus the black cube that I was supposed to add at the beginning of this turn. So they're going to move twice towards me. 1, 2. Now, rules check. I don't think they move per green fedora that I moved, right? Let me just... I'm getting the solo rules mixed up versus... Let's see, move. One space for each cube in your city and each spade symbol. Yep. So the green fedoras are for the solo mode for the other thing. Okay, so they move twice towards you, towards me, and then for me, they moved 1 space per clue point that I had, and I had 3 clue points. So 1, 2, 3. So they're both at Budapest, and I'm at Venice. I don't have to deal with them, which is great. Now I have 3 clue points. I'm going to go ahead and flip over a card. And it has to match the symbol on Venice, which is a temple symbol. I'm going to go ahead and remove this cube right here and flip over temple exit. What is it going to be? To exit the temple, you must face peril A. Oh no. I flipped over the wrong card. I did it in the wrong order. But, to exit the temple, you must face peril A. And I don't know what it is. But at least now I can just, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Okay. So the next thing is I can either add a card to my hand or I can flip over another card to iconic. I think what I'll do is I'll add this symbol. That way I think I have all the symbols at that point, and it says local knowledge. So at least I have those 2 symbols here. Man. Okay, the next 2 turns, I'm going to really try and just flip over these cards to iconic. I don't think I should have more cards in my tableau. Just act as if you placed the B card in the A slot. Oh yeah, solo game. Hashtag solo game. Okay, next thing is I'm going to take this cube, move it up to turn number 4, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure out my move. I already know what I'm going to do. I am going to go 1, 2, 3, take the shortcut down to Ankara and add a black cube there. I'm going to draw. Oh, wait, this is the wrong shape. Oh, no, it's the wrong shape. That's going to add 3 fedoras. Can I go to a circle instead? 1, 2. I might need to go to a circle instead. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to a circle instead. So I'm going to add the cube to Constantinople. And I will take this one, this circle. Okay. And I'm not going to give up a cube for an extra clue point because on this card, I can see that there is a horseshoe and the guy with the sound. And I already know that I'm going to be fine. Well, actually, if I can get 4. Ooh. Oh, I'm going to have to take 2 hubris if I do that. Well, I can decide on hubris after. No, I am not going to pay for this hat. I'm not going to. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Flip it over. It's a horseshoe. So I have 1 clue point. Do I want to spend 2 hubris for 2 more clue points? I think I'm just going to spend 1 hubris plus the one that I have to take. So I have to take it for being on turn 4. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Plus 1 green fedora that I'm going to use. And I have a total of 2 hubris. What I should have done is spend that cube and I should have done 4 hubris, or 4 clue points. So right now I only have 2 clue points, okay? And I had to use 1 green fedora for the extra clue point. I didn't spend my cube. Now, before I actually flip over cards, I'm going to have to move the enemy pawn and the other meeple towards me. The other meeple moves 2 spots for 2 clue points. So 1, 2. It actually does catch up to me. That's going to add a cube to spot number 2 on the temple track. And then the enemy pawn moves 1 spot because of the black cube, plus 1 additional spot because of the spade. 1, 2. And I have a couple options. I can give up a card here or here, or give up a clue point. I'm going to give up a card from this stack and just discard it. And that won't affect me at all. So I have 2 clue points, and I can either reveal something on the chalice or reveal something from the green section. So I really want to do... I really want to do the chalice. I'm going to do the chalice. So I'm going to remove a cube here. Or wait a minute. I'm not going to remove a cube from here. And I'll tell you why. Well, would I have... No, I'm going to have to. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I removed a cube. The reason why I didn't want to remove a cube from the chalice area is on solo mode. When you do this section, when you score this section, the other opponent meeple moves forward 1 space if you removed any one of those cubes. And I'm moving a cube right now, which means that the meeple will move forward 1 spot during the temple phase. But I think I really need the cube, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to reveal this chalice. What does it say? B is not the true chalice. Beware of the false chalice. B is not the true chalice. So if I look on my board, it says A, B, C, D. So it's saying B is false. So then I go over to my paper pad here, and I'm going to cross off B. Okay? So that one is definitely not it. All right, so that one's done. And then I'm not going to spend any more. I don't have any more clue points to spend. If I had more clue points, I could keep on going if I wanted to. And then that's going to be it for that card. All right, then the next thing is last turn. Okay. I think I'm going to move here. 1, 2. I'm going to get the circle. I have a plan, everyone. I'm going to get this circle. And I'm going to spend 1 cube. That is going to get me 2 fedoras with a guaranteed 1 more. And I'm going to flip it over. It's going to be the guy with the sound. Oh, I forgot to actually flip one of these over on the last turn too. And I think I'm going to flip this one over. Okay. All right, so I have 1 clue point because of my 1 guy with the sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 clue points. Now I have to, before I flip over cards, I have to move the meeple and the enemy towards me. The enemy will move 1 cube. Oh, plus the one that I added because I went to Cairo. Plus 1 spade, so 3 spaces. 1, 2. Well, they didn't even have to go 3 spaces. Then I'm going to give up a card from my draw stack because I don't want to give up a clue point. And they reached me. Then I move the meeple 1 spot per clue point. They definitely got to me. And I'm going to have a black cube on the temple track starting on number 3 now. Okay? So I took care of those 2, and I'm ready to flip over the cards matching the symbols. And there's 2 symbols here. there is the Temple City section, which is blue, and the perils approaching the temple, which is green. And I have 4 clue points, and I can keep on revealing clues if I have enough clue points, as long as they match those symbols, which is perfect for me. Daryl, have a wonderful dinner. Have a good one. Thank you for the lurk. Yeah, I'm a solo player. I didn't read the rules. I just flip over cards and move cubes around. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove this cube right here and look at the location shape. So the temple, it says here, the temple is in a triangle city. That means it could be here, here, here. So I'm pretty sure Western Europe is not included in that, but it could be either be Bucharest or İskenderun. So that's either going to be Eastern Europe or Middle East. Okay. So then I go to my clue, my notepad here. The temple is in a triangle city, and I go to the location section and I circle the triangle. So I know for sure that it's going to be in a triangle. Then I have 2 more clue points. I'm actually going to reveal this card because it matches that symbol, and I have 2 more clue points. So I'm going to take the cube because I want it. Then I flip this over. And it is the map symbol. I am so glad that I flipped over, that I accessed the local knowledge, because otherwise I wouldn't have had any map symbols. So, wow, I'm really glad I got that one. Okay, so that's all done. I got my 4 black cubes, which was part of my tips. I revealed the exit the temple. I revealed the peril that matched it. I tried to discover the temple city location and region. I just got the city, but it's going to be better than nothing. And I eliminated 1 spot for the chalice. That's what I did in my 5 turns. I wish I could have done better, but oh well, luck didn't play on my side and I tried my best. Before I end my turn, I'm going to go ahead and flip over this card because I really want more of these symbols. And now I have 2 of those maze symbols and 2 horseshoes. I'm going to leave this card here. And that is it for the map phase. Now I'm going to go into the temple phase. It's called the Temple Peril Sequence. And when you move on to this, it's actually really easy. You just move your black cube over to the blue circle. And then as you move your cube down, you do whatever it tells you to do right underneath it. So right now we're in the blue. So we're going to be doing the Temple City. You're going to flip over your card here and you're going to place your bid. Well, the blue area is the location. So based on the clues that we see here, we know that the temple is in a triangle city. We know that it's either going to be in Eastern Europe or in the Middle East. We would have known for sure if we could have flipped over that card, the location region, but we didn't. So should I guess that it is in Bucharest, which is letter B, or İskenderun, which is in letter D? Which one should I say? Whichever feels right. What happens if you get it wrong? If I get it wrong, then I don't start on spot number 4. I can start on, if I get the wrong, I'm not going to get the wrong city. Well, if I get the wrong region, it's 1. If I get the wrong city, it's 2. And if I get everything right, it's number 4. D, but I wager against you. Okay, we're going to say D. So I write down D. We are saying that the temple location is in İskenderun in the Middle East. All right. The temple's in the Middle East. We got it right! Let's go! That was a wild guess, and we got it right. Okay. Well, okay, that's awesome. So, because we got it right, I am starting in the correct city, which is spot number 4. We found the temple! No matter what, pawn space will top. So, I put on spot number 4. The enemy pawn will always start in spot number 3 because of the spade. Okay, so they're going to go here. And the opponent pawn will skip all the black cubes and actually start in spot number 4. Okay, so we did that. Then the next thing is going here. And this is where we start the bid. So perils approaching the temple. We know that it is the map icon, and we're going to actually look on... Whoops, sorry. We're actually going to look at the icons that I have. I have 2, okay? Now, I look here. The green fedora symbols that we have is going to be the bid for the other opponent. All right? So the green fedoras are the bid number for the opponent for the rest of the game, plus 1 for if you took off a cube in that section. Okay? So because I took off a cube in that section in the temple city, it's going to add 1 to their bid number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green fedoras, 6 for temple city, and just for stream's sake, I'll just write 6 for them. And for me, I have to know that my bid needs to be higher than them if I want to move further, but I have to pay the difference in hubris of amount of symbols that I have that's correct for that area. So, and then rules check, the enemy pawn spade symbols on all 4 cards. Okay, so the enemy pawn will draw their cards next for their bid, and whoever bids the highest will move the most, but has to pay the difference in hubris, which is bad. But that's why I was trying to save my spots here, which now I can't because I'm already at 8. And if I have anything past 11, my face might get melted off. But in order to win the game, I need to be ahead. So I'm a little bit worried here. I am going to bid... I am going to bid 2. I'm going to bid 2. And they're going to bid 6. Okay? Now, in a multiplayer game, you would then flip over the card and be like, okay, everyone pay the difference in hubris. So we already know that is the map symbol. I have 2. I bid 2. I don't have to pay any difference in hubris. They bid 6. They bid higher than me, so they're going to move more than me. And now it is the enemy pawn's turn. So what they have to do is you take all these cards, all 3 stacks, and you're going to shuffle them together. And their bid will be the amount of all the spade symbols for 4 cards. Okay. Also, Joko Board Games, I don't know if I said hello. Good to see you. Okay, so 1. Yes! They got no spade symbols. They got no spade symbols on 3 cards. So their bid was 1. My bid was 2. And the opponent's bid was 6. So then what happens is you move the number of spaces as players who were lower behind you, including the enemy pawn. And if your bid was in solo mode, if your bid was higher than the enemy pawn's bid, you get to move an additional spot. So starting with the highest bid, which was 6, the enemy gets to move 1, 2 spaces. Then I went and I said 2, and I bid higher than the enemy pawn. So I get to move 1 spot And I will rules check, but I think I actually get to move another spot, and I'll check. I was at 4 and I just moved 1 because I think that the enemy pawn is included in the player count here. So I just moved once because I bid higher than the enemy pawn. Now, before we move on to the next space, the opponent is ahead of everyone, and then when the opponent is ahead of everyone on the temple track at the end of their turn, before we move the cube again, a black cube is added to their spot, meaning that when the enemy pawn reaches that area, they actually get to skip that spot and continue counting as if that spot didn't exist. And that is to add aid to the enemy pawn. Okay? So that one goes there. Now we're going to move on here. And we have to place our bids all over again. The other opponent will bid. The other opponent will bid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. And I have 3 suns here. Do I want the opponent to bid higher again? I don't know. I really, really don't want them to. I could bid 7 and get a spot higher than them. Maybe I should try it. Should I bid 7 and end up having 13 hubris? I could try. I might be able to do it. My face could melt off. Okay, Games Mama, have a good sleep. Have a good one. ! G in chat for Games Mama. Do I want to do that? I think I'm going to. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk my face getting melted off. So I'm going to bid 7. They're going to bid 6, so my bid will be higher than them. Now we're going to draw 4 cards, and they're going to count the number of spades. There's 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. I am so glad I bid 7 because I would have been last. Wow. Okay, so the bot or the enemy pawn got 7. Okay. I bid the most. I have to take the difference in hubris. So that's going to be 4 marks because I said 7 and I have 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm now at 12 hubris total. That's really bad. And then let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they also they tied. So who goes? I don't know. I since they tied, no one bid less than them. So I don't think that either of them moves because no one bid less than them. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. It does say move your meeple on the temple track by 1 space for each player whose bid is lower than yours, plus 1 of the enemy agent's pawn bid is lower than yours. And then that's on the actual rulebook for multiplayer. And then for solo mode, it just says the rival doesn't skip over spaces with cubes. So I think neither of them move, and that was a really good move for me. So I get to move 2 times. 1, 2. And they don't get the move. And that's it. I do believe that I have to place a black cube there because it says if a player is furthest along the track, place a cube from the supply on that player's space on temple track. Yeah. So I have to place a black cube here because I'm ahead. And that's that. So I'm slowly getting ahead here, and that's really good news. Okay. So that's it for both of those phases. The next one here is going to be Perils of the Temple. I already know the symbol here, and I only have one of these symbols. I think I'm going to say 1, and I'm not going to take any more hubris. I really don't want my face to get melted off. And then they're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total, which is ridiculous. They're going to say 6. And then we're going to draw 4 cards for the opponent, the enemy pawn. 1, 2, 3. So their bid was 3 because of 3 spades across 4 cards. And my bid was the lowest. So I can't move, but I didn't take any hubris. Their bid was the highest, so they moved twice. And the enemy bid moves once, or the enemy pawn moves once. Then they're going to lay down a black cube here, and we're going to move on to the next thing. The next thing is something that I have no idea what it is, and I don't know what to bid, and that's kind of scary because I might have to end up taking hubris. The other thing is, since there's no cube removed from that spot, their bid is going to be 5. So the best case scenario would be me saying 3 and at least moving 1 spot. I wonder if I can do that. There's no way. I think I think I need to say, what if they're going to say 5? What if I also said 5? But then if it was the arrow or this little hook thing, then I'd have to take 4 hubris and I'd lose the game because I'd be past 15. So I should, if I play it safe, I don't think I'm going to pass them. I'm going to say 3 and hope that it's a sun. I'm going to say 3. They are going to say 5. Okay, we're going to flip it over. Ready? It's a map symbol. So I have 2 maps. So I have to take 1 hubris. And now we're going to count theirs. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. They're going to have 4 cards. 1, 2, 3. Their bid was 3. My bid was 3. So they don't move forward and I don't move forward. Well, wait a minute. I think I actually forgot a rule. Oh, no. If I'm behind the enemy pawn, I take 1 less hubris, but I'm not behind the enemy pawn. I'm ahead of the enemy pawn. That was the other rule that I didn't say because I forgot it, but it hasn't happened yet. And hopefully it won't because I need to be ahead of it. So they unfortunately get to move twice. And that's really bad for me. 1, 2. I don't move at all. They don't move at all. Now we're going to move on to the next phase here. And this one is... Oops. This one is the false chalices. So if we look on our paper here, we see that B is crossed off. And it could either be A, D, or C. Now, according to scoring, it says, if you wrote the correct chalice, move forward 3 spaces on the temple track. If you wrote a chalice adjacent to the true chalice, move forward 1 space and take 1 hubris. Oh no, I'm gonna have to take another hubris. If you chose the chalice that is not adjacent to true chalice, take 2 hubris? Oh no. And then it says, move the rival 1 space if you claimed a cue from at least 1 of the false chalice cards, which I did. So no matter what, they're going to be here. And my hubris, I can only take 2 more hubris. If I end up taking 3 hubris, I will lose the game. Okay, how are you supposed to win this? According to BGG reviews, it's like really hard to win. But if you follow my tips, I really do think you could win. I just couldn't follow my tips. And I'm the one that wrote them. Okay, so since I revealed B, we know it's not B. If I choose A or C, and I get... If the answer is D, then I'm adjacent. I move forward 1 spot. if I choose something that's not adjacent to the answer, I should choose D. I should choose D, because then no matter what, I'm only taking 1 hubris. Worst case scenario. I'm choosing D. So I'm gonna write down on my notepad here. D. Yep, D is a safe bet. Okay. We're gonna flip this card over. D is not the true chalice. F. C is not the true chalice. It was A. The correct chalice was A. I have to take 1 hubris, but I do get to move forward 1 spot. Now it is exit the temple. To exit the temple, you must place peril A. Face peril A. Peril A is the maze. I have 1, 2 symbols. I'm going to bet 2 because I really don't want 15 hubris. So I'm going to say 2. They are going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green fedoras plus 1 cube missing. Their bet is 6. And the enemy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means that I got the lowest. I'm not going to be moving forward once. They tied, but they each get to move forward once because they beat me. 1, 1. Okay, they didn't beat each other though. So now that is how that goes. You lose if you're behind the enemy or the rival. I am behind the rival. My score was 8. Their score was 12. The enemy score was 5. I beat the enemy agent. I did not beat the rival. So that's it. Like and I forgot to move my cube there. I lost the game. I didn't win the solo game. But now's the true purpose of scoring this game. Will my face melt off? Okay. Now we're at the part if my face will melt off, Gator Dave. I like your hat. Where'd you get it? This is from Disneyland next to Indiana Jones ride. It is I believe it's the actual Indiana Jones hat. It is a very nice hat. It's very well made. So I'll move my cube here and it says Hubris Challenge. Okay. Hubris Challenge. How that's going to work is, remember, I have 4 cubes carried over from my map phase. And I get to take 4 cards from here. And I get to remove Hubris for every green and brown fedora in this gray box. And I can spend 1 cube per card to remove that many fedoras from that card's cost as well. So the first card, I remove 2 fedoras. And in order to remove Hubris, you draw a line, making your Hubris lines X's starting backwards. So I remove 1 green fedora, another green fedora. I have 4 cubes, so I'm going to put 1 cube back. And now I can pay that cost down there and remove 2 more Hubris. Now I'm down to 10 Hubris and I'm at card number 2. This sucks. Card number 2 is only 1 green fedora. I'm going to pay a cube for another brown fedora. Card number 3 is 1 green fedora. Play a black cube to remove 2 more fedoras. 1, 2. My last card. Can I remove 4 fedoras? Yes! Yes, I can! Yes, I can remove 4 fedoras! I remove 2 green fedoras and I play a black cube, remove 2 more fedoras. Guess what? My face didn't melt off. Get that poll resolved because my face didn't melt off today, okay? No face melting. I didn't win. I didn't win the solo mode, but I escaped with my face intact. I am alive and I can try again another day.